American history. From the Revolution to modern day, presented by History Facts and Mysteries. Today, we're going to take you on a journey through American history, from the Revolution to modern day. The United States has come a long way since the 13 original colonies declared their independence. From revolution to expansion, to civil wars, economic booms, and the fight for civil rights, the history of America is both complicated and fascinating. In this video, we'll explore key moments in American history, the struggles that shaped the nation, and the people who made it all possible. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to History Facts and Mysteries and hit that bell icon so you won't miss any of our exciting future videos. Let's dive right in. The road to revolution. A nation seeks freedom. America's journey to independence didn't happen overnight. The seeds of revolution were planted long before the battles of Lexington and Concord in 1775. In the early 17th century, European settlers, primarily from England, began establishing colonies along the eastern seaboard of North America. These colonies grew rapidly and became prosperous over time. However, tensions began to build as the British government imposed taxes and laws on the colonists without their consent. The famous slogan, "No taxation without representation," became a rallying cry against British rule. Colonial resentment reached a boiling point with events like the Boston Tea Party in 1773, where American colonists protested the Tea Act by dumping British tea into the harbor. The British response was swift and harsh, leading to the closing of the Boston Harbor and the enforcement of the Intolerable Acts, further alienating the colonies. By 1774, the Continental Congress convened to address the growing crisis. They sought a resolution, but by 1775, conflict erupted into armed resistance. The revolution had begun. The American Revolution. Struggle for independence. The American Revolution, 1775–1783, was a battle for freedom, but it wasn't just about fighting the British. It was a test of the fledgling nation's resolve, leadership, and ideals. At the forefront was George Washington, who was appointed commander-in-chief of the Continental Army. Under his leadership, the Continental Army fought through difficult conditions, from the harsh winter at Valley Forge to early defeats like the Battle of Brooklyn. But they also achieved critical victories, most notably the Battle of Saratoga in 1777, which convinced France to support the American cause. The war was officially brought to an end with the Treaty of Paris in 1783, in which Britain recognized the sovereignty of the United States. The revolution was over, but the challenges of nation-building had only just begun. The birth of a nation, the Constitution and the early Republic. After the Revolutionary War, the new United States of America faced the monumental task of creating a system of government. The Articles of Confederation were initially put in place, but they quickly proved inadequate, as the central government lacked the power to govern effectively. In 1787, the Constitutional Convention was held in Philadelphia, where the U.S. Constitution was drafted, outlining the structure of the federal government and the rights of its citizens. The Constitution created a system of checks and balances, dividing power between the executive, legislative, and judicial branches. But this wasn't enough for some, who feared the federal government would become too powerful. As a result, the Bill of Rights, first 10 amendments to the Constitution, was added in 1791, guaranteeing essential freedoms like freedom of speech, religion, and the press. Westward expansion and the growing pains of a nation. In the 19th century, the United States embarked on a period of westward expansion. The Louisiana Purchase in 1803, under President Thomas Jefferson, doubled the size of the nation, opening up vast territories for settlement. The concept of manifest destiny emerged, a belief that it was America's divine mission to expand its borders across the continent. The Indian Removal Act of 1830 forcibly relocated Native American tribes from their ancestral lands to make way for settlers. This led to tragic events, including the infamous Trail of Tears, where thousands of Native Americans died during forced relocations. As the U.S. expanded, tensions grew over the issue of slavery. The South's economy was heavily dependent on slavery for agricultural labor, while the North had largely abolished it. This division set the stage for the Civil War. The Civil War. a nation divided. The Civil War, 1861–1865, was one of the most devastating conflicts in American history. It was fought over the survival of the Union and the issue of slavery. When Abraham Lincoln was elected president in 1860, Southern states, fearing the abolition of slavery, seceded from the Union and formed the Confederacy. The war began in 1861 with the Confederate attack on Fort Sumter. Over the next 4 years, the Union and Confederate forces engaged in numerous battles, with significant victories and losses on both sides. The Battle of Gettysburg in 1863 was a turning point, as Union forces repelled the Confederates. Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, also in 1863, declared that all slaves in Confederate-held territory were free. By 1865, the Confederacy was defeated, and the Union was restored. However, the war left deep scars on the nation. The abolition of slavery was a monumental achievement, but the Reconstruction period that followed was difficult, with racial tensions and economic hardship. The Industrial Revolution and the rise of America as a global power. The late 19th century ushered in a period of rapid industrialization. The United States transformed from a primarily agrarian society into a leading industrial power. Innovations such as the telegraph, the steam engine, and the railroad revolutionized communication, transportation, and trade. This period also saw the rise of powerful business tycoons, such as Andrew Carnegie and John D. Rockefeller, who built vast fortunes in steel and oil. However, the Gilded Age, as it was known, was also marked by extreme wealth inequality, political corruption, and harsh labor conditions. The Progressive Era, at the turn of the 20th century, brought reforms aimed at addressing these issues, such as antitrust laws and labor rights. The Great Wars, World War I and II. The United States' involvement in World War I, 1914–1918, marked its emergence as a global power. Although initially neutral, the U.S. joined the Allies after German submarines attacked American ships. The war's outcome led to the Treaty of Versailles, which aimed to secure lasting peace but set the stage for future global conflicts. World War II, 1939–1945, had an even greater impact on the United States. The U.S. entered the war after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941. American troops fought in both the European and Pacific theaters, eventually contributing to the defeat of Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan. The U.S. also emerged as a global superpower, leading the post-war rebuilding efforts and founding the United Nations. The Cold War and civil rights. After World War II, the world was divided between two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. This rivalry led to the Cold War, a period of political and military tension that lasted from 1947 to 1991. The U.S. engaged in numerous proxy wars, most notably in Korea and Vietnam, as it sought to contain the spread of communism. Domestically, the 1960s were a time of great change, as the civil rights movement gained momentum. Leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks fought to end segregation and secure voting rights for African Americans. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 were landmark legislative achievements that transformed American society. Modern America. Challenges and progress. The late 20th century and early 21st century saw continued challenges for the United States, including economic recessions, the Vietnam War, and the rise of terrorism, culminating in the September 11, 2001 attacks. However, the U.S. also saw significant progress, including the rise of technology, the election of the first African American president, Barack Obama, in 2008, and continued efforts to address social issues such as healthcare, gender equality, and environmental concerns. The nation continues to evolve, facing complex challenges like political polarization, climate change, and global tensions. Yet, the spirit of the American Revolution, the pursuit of freedom and equality, remains at the core of the American identity. From its revolutionary beginnings to its position as a global superpower, the history of the United States is a testament to the resilience of its people and the constant drive for progress. The U.S. has faced wars, divisions, economic turmoil, and social unrest, but it has always found ways to adapt and grow. As we look to the future, it's important to remember the struggles of the past and the lessons they offer for the present and beyond. Thank you for joining us on this journey through American history. If you enjoyed this exploration of the past, don't forget to subscribe to History Facts and Mysteries and click the bell icon so you don't miss out on future content. Until next time, keep exploring the mysteries of history. There's always more to discover.